knowing mom, maybe because he loved her a lot. And when I was with my mammy, who was my great grandmother, when she passed, I had spent the night with her in the hospital room, and we knew that
it's cold outside.
Yeah. It's perfect for a ghost story then.
Yeah, it's cold, random noises. He is a black cat.
Yeah. So we knew it was her last night. I mean, we didn't know when, but we knew it was coming. And I'd stayed with her and kind of held her that whole night. And she had been real restless that whole night. And my mammy was real sharp. I mean, she was physically so frail, but like mentally had been sharp up to the end. And but she was kind of going in and out of. It wasn't really sedation because I don't know. She was just, I think, a little delirium,
in and out of lucidity.
Yeah, and she would just all of a sudden she'd kind of drift off, and then she'd wake up, or it would look like she was awake, and she'd start talking to people in the corner.
Oh, I've heard of people doing that.
Yeah, and she'd call out names and stuff. Every name she said was a member of our family that had already died. And, and then as the night went on, she'd start reaching out to them. And I think they were all kind of gathering in the room to take her home. Mm-hmm. And that was probably like 4 in the morning when she really was doing it bad. And within 1 o'clock in the afternoon, she just died. And I don't know, have y'all ever been with someone when they died?
No.
I have my dad, my mom, my mammy, and it's not really the way they show it on TV most of the time. They don't just sort of drift away, but mammy did, and it was really neat.
That's how they say my grandma went.
We had been told that her vitals were just steadily dropping. And, that starts, the heart rate and the blood pressure just starts to get really, really low, and then just eventually it just fades out. And so they had a minister come in, and we were all around her bed, and, we all had our hands on her. It was me and my sister and my niece and mama and 2 of her daughters and a cousin. So we were all holding her, and we prayed, and he said amen, and we still all had our hands on her, and she just, right as the amen, I looked over because the thing with the vitals was right here, and they just went, and she just went. It was like she was waiting, for that. And it was just the most peaceful, we've all got to go. Mm-hmm. If we can all get lucky enough to go in that way, I mean. What are you doing there, babe?
I don't know. It was like...
We all heard it because,
Yeah, notice he didn't move the headphones.
You could just hold it to the speaker.
There wasn't supposed to be any sound coming out of
that porn video.
Yeah, I thought I'd take
fucking porn
save the video without the sound. God damn it!
Put that on vibrate.
You are.
Fuck me, I guess I forgot.
My bad.
You may die in your sleep of suffocation tonight.
If I do, y'all.
Bag, you're gonna...
If I do, y'all, he said it. That made it premeditated.
That is true.
But yeah, that's. What else you got, Amber? You got another one?
Well, I've got 30-something of them.
Oh yeah, well, come on with it then.
I'm just gonna read a page at a time.
All right then, get to it.
She's going
to, but not because I said so.
See, I was alone in the house one morning. I heard voices coming from Alexis's hallway. I walk over there, and now they sound like they're coming from our hallway. I walk to our hall, and they stop. No TVs or radios were on. Another morning, I heard a music box playing in our hallway. It only played for a few seconds and then stopped.
It was just like one of those, a music box.
Like one of those, when you had a little girl, you opened it up and it had the little ballerina. It sounded like that.
But there's not one in the house.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that.
The closest thing we would have had would have been that cuckoo clock from Germany. from the Black Forest.
It doesn't play music, though.
No, it doesn't.
Cuckoo.
Yeah.
Early one night, I was sitting at the computer desk in the living room. Our hall light is on, but our hall is to my left. The hall goes to the laundry room and then turns right to our room. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a man step out of the end of the hall, dressed all in white. I turned my head, and he is gone. And I saw that man
more than once.
probably 2 or 3 times, all in white. Just
Could you like see features? Like,
no, because it was always like out of the corner of my eye. Like I would just see him go like this around the corner, and I could see the silhouette of his shape. I could see he was dressed all in white, and then I'd look, and nothing's there.
Okay, so this one actually isn't mine. It's something that happened to my mom. So back when I was really, really young, my mom was working at the she's always worked at the VA, but she was a staff nurse working some weird shift, and it was
that's hilarious.
and the VA hospital at that time was the one on Roosevelt Road.
Okay.
Right? Which, anyone not familiar with Little Rock, Roosevelt Road is the ghetto. It is the shittiest part of Little Rock, and if anybody says otherwise, they just don't know. So anyway, she's going home. It's like, she said it was like 1 or 2 in the morning and just raining like hell. And she's in her whatever Trans Am or whatever the fuck she had, and she had a flat or something. So she pulls over and she's trying to change this tire, and these guys pull in behind her, and
In a white car.
I don't know what color their car was.
I think she said it was a white car.
Well, they pull in behind her and they change her tire for them. They change her tire for her, and then they start talking about payment. And she's like, "Oh shit!" And then this guy pulls in.
Okay, he was the one in the white car.
I don't know what color his car was, but he was wearing all white, like white hair, white beard, white head to toe. She said there was not a speck of mud on him, and it's been raining all like hell. And he basically runs these fucking guys off, and says, "All right, I'll follow you, until you get off the highway." And she took off, and he was gone.
Sounds like a guardian angel to me.
Yep.
May have very much well saved her.
Yeah. Okay, it's your turn.
I think I've told this story before, but kind of got a little different view on it this morning. I was out at a local wildlife management area one time, and I kept hearing this bird call, and so I decided to try and record it and see if I could identify it later. So I go back to the house, and I'm listening, and I hear on the recording, "Help me, help me," like 4 times. It freaked me the hell out. And I was thinking, okay, ghost or something, and I did a little research, and there's like some interesting history in that area centered around the Civil War, and like the family that originally settled it, that kind of thing. But lately I've been kind of interested in this whole missing 411 project. And if you haven't heard about it, go look it up. It's an ex-police officer that's investigating all these weird disappearances in national parks, wilderness areas, that kind of thing. And I watched a deal this morning, and it was a disappearance of a person on this trail around a lake. And they had gone and searched for this person. Couldn't find anything. And so this search had been going on for 4 or 5 days. Well, in that period of 4 or 5 days, several people had called the head ranger's office and said, "Look, I was walking the trail around the lake, and right here in this spot, I heard somebody calling for help, saying help me, you know." And the head forest ranger would send another team to that spot. They'd do an extensive search right there in that area and not find anything. A couple hours later, somebody else would call and say the same thing. And I don't know. I got to thinking about that recording I'd made out at Wattensaw, and it's like, that's weird. I wonder if it has, any similarities to my deal. I just thought that was interesting. Mm-hmm. I'd never thought of it that way, but I don't know. Who knows?
I'll just never forget when you heard that going over the recording, because you were listening for bird calls, and I was just laying there on the bed reading, and I could hear it through the headphones, but I'll never forget seeing his face. It was like, it was like oh shit. I think one of the coolest ghost stories I have is, and Amber was there and Ross was there. There was this old place outside of Hot Springs. And we'd been there a couple of times. But this time our whole group was there. And it was one of those urban exploration ghost hunting things where we really didn't have permission to be there, and I don't advise that, but we were.
I like the way you said urban exploration as opposed to trespassing.
It's called a catchphrase, Chris. Nobody asked you. Chris didn't join us on the expedition because he's a scared.
No, because I had to watch Alexis. We were at that fucking hotel.
That's what I would say about her.
Whatever, fuck you.
So anyway,
I'll let him stand on that. She wasn't.
And so Alexis wouldn't have been afraid. And it was this dark house, and there was no glass in the windows or anything like this, and places where the floor was rotted through.
Yeah, we couldn't even. It was 2-story. We couldn't even get upstairs.
Couldn't even begin to. And like we would see eyes in the dark, and we would like, all right, somebody go, okay, I've got eye shine, and so we would all like 1, 2, 3, bam, hit it with light. There'd be nothing, and where we were looking, the floor had fallen through, and there was leaf litter, dry leaf litter, that would have made all kind of noise if something was moving.
Lots of crackling and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, and there was no sound. They were just there, then they were gone. And I mean, it wasn't one person saw the eye shine. We'd all see it, and then
someone would have a camera on it. We'd all see the red eyes right there on the screen.
And as soon as we hit it with light, there'd be nothing. No movement, no nothing.
Nope.
And we were doing an EVP session in there, and we were all in a circle, and every one of the women, and we did a lot of this back when we were doing it all the time. It was almost an every weekend thing. It was just our norm, and I've never seen another place where we got unsettled, but like every one of the women.
I don't know, Bethesda.
Every one of the women.
That was for a different reason, though.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying when we had the recording.
But all the women reported like hair being pulled, and I don't mean somebody I mean like yanked. And I think Lisa, she had the shortest hair out of the women, and she was pinched. And then when we went,
I think the leg of my jeans got pulled on or something, and I was just standing there,
tugged on,
I wasn't walking. It didn't. Yeah, my leg.
So
didn't,
it wasn't like you caught it on something.
I was just standing there. You could feel just a yank.
And we decided to close out the night with a prayer, because we all kind of just felt some really dark energy and stuff. And so we're all standing in a circle and we're about to do that, and we're all like close enough that we can all touch each other. We can clearly see each other's faces and lips and all that. And we're all standing there, and we hear someone clearly say Lisa. And we were like, none of us said that. So we did our praying, and we got Git. And then it wasn't too long after that the place burned down. And it had, vegetation had encapsulated it. And what I thought was crazy.
Yeah, before the house burned.
Yeah.
Like, there was trees and limbs.
All, like, I mean, literally